Good day. I'm here to present to you my personal development plan as part of the requirements for Assessment 2 of the unit Manage Personal Work Priorities and Professional Development. The aim of this presentation is to share with you the ways that I think will help me in managing my work priorities, how I can grow and develop new skills and increase my knowledge of what I currently do as a student trainer, and how I can become a more competitive individual, both personally and professionally. So that's the aim of this presentation. And to start with, let me share with you the skills and knowledge that I must have in accordance with competency standards. First one that I've identified as the skill that I need or that I should have is communication skills. Communication skills is more than just the ability to speak and articulate clearly and fluently in order to pass out information. Communication skills is the ability of a person to convey a message to another through a set of tools or methods necessary to communicate that message. As a student trainer, I must possess the ability to communicate and pass on that information to other people over the telephone and by email. And I must demonstrate my ability to convey the message that I wanted to say to others in a clear, fluent, and concise manner. So basically, you just need communication skills is very essential with what I do, because I don't get to see the other person or the student in front of me. I get to interact with them over the phone. And so it's very important that if I want to send the message right, if I expect my student to understand the message that I'm trying to convey to him or her, then I must possess the skill necessary in conveying that message. And by that, I mean I would need to speak clearly, being able to being easily understood by my students. So I have to know how to express my ideas in a fluid manner. Okay, so I should have that ability so that I'll be able to help my students out in sharing, or at least in making them understand what I wanted them to do as their student trainer. Alright, so the next one is technical skills. As I am working in the education sector, I must have a thorough understanding of the products, services, and processes that I provide to my customers, which in this case are my students, and to address their concerns in a precise and concise manner. I must show my students how things are being done, and I must teach it to them without expecting any reward. Okay. So simply put, if I were supporting my students in their diploma, then I must know exactly what I'm teaching them. I must understand the elements of each unit of study, and I must prove to my students that I am competent in this field of study. That way, when I relay the information to my students, when I teach them how they should do their assessments, how they should answer the exams, then my students will have great confidence in me that I know what I'm talking about. So it's very important that I should possess that skill. All right. And lastly, um, I must have people skills. It is the last skill that I have identified that I should have, which is in accordance with competency standards. People skills refer to the ability to connect with other people and being able to understand their state of being. Now, in my case, I must have the ability to discern how my students and colleagues feel about themselves, and should be able to put myself into their shoes. I should know how are they feeling about their studies, how do they react to news about a loss of a friend or a family member, or how do they how they overcome the trials that they face, etc. So it's very important that I must have this skill because since I am, well, as I've stated before, since I am in this business, which is educating people, teaching people how to become better persons, it is vital that I must know how do they feel about the diploma that they're taking, and whether they're struggling with their studies or not. Because if I don't, then I'm just like an echo to them, saying something that means nothing. Now, if I'm able to connect with my students, if I'm able to connect with people, I can simply reach out and let them know that they can always depend on me if they need help. All right. So moving on, it is very important that I should plan out my personal development, so that I can become more effective and efficient in what I do. Thus, I have come up with my own personal development plan, and I've indicated my career objectives, or my career objective, as to be an effective and efficient in my job function as a student trainer, and I aim to achieve that within 6 months by meeting the expected key performance indicators, and by serving as a resource person to my colleagues. Now, if in case you haven't noticed, my career objective is a SMART goal because I have specified a personal objective. I've placed measurable tools or methods to determine if I have met that goal. The goal is achievable and realistic because since there are tools that can be used, since there are tools that can be used to determine if the goal can be achieved, all I have to do is simply follow these KPIs, and if I follow them thoroughly, then the objective can be met. And lastly, it is time bound because I have set a deadline for myself wherein I should be able to meet that goal within a period of 6 months. Now, for my personal development plan, I have divided it into 5 columns. The skill, knowledge, or behavior that I have identified as a development need. So what needs to be developed, how that need will be met. So for here, I will discuss how to determine the tools necessary for meeting that development need, when that need should be developed, the time frame to complete the task, the lessons learned, or what did I learn out of this activity or task, and lastly, my action plan, or simply how am I going to get this done. So from here I have identified 3 skills or knowledge that I should develop. Now, the first one is being able to communicate to students with empathy, patience, and restraint. Now, the reason why I said this is because I have realized that my temperament can quickly change, and it can actually change from being bubbly to being frustrated, especially when I'm faced with quote unquote challenging students. And by that, and when I say challenging students, I mean hard-headed, slow learning, overly demanding types. Now, this development need can be met by doing simulated calls or mock calls wherein I will be tasked to show how to empathize with students effectively, and learn how to extend my patience a little longer, and basically restraining myself if I feel that I'm about to explode. So there. The next one for me is to learn how to flex my personality to match the personality of the other person. Now, my action plan will be to ask my team leader to conduct these mock calls with me on a daily basis within a period of 2 weeks, preferably before my shift ends. Once the mock call is done, my team leader can give me his feedback on the call straight away during our coaching session. I will take notes of the areas of improvement identified during that call, and my team leader will simply document the whole conversation, and it will be kept on my personal development file. Now, the expected learning outcome basically is that I should learn how to adjust myself towards my students' different personalities, being able to convey negative statements positively, should show genuine sincerity and empathy towards my students, and to be able to expand my level of patience. So the second skill that I have identified is my knowledge of the content material of the diploma that I'm supporting. That is the dual diploma of business and management. I need to ensure that I am equipped with the knowledge of the diploma course, because students will come to me for help, and I need to ensure that I am giving them the right information. The development need here is for me to complete my personal qualifications by submitting all of the assessments for each unit of study, and this is to determine competency for each unit. To do this, I will be spending at least 2 to 3 hours of each day in going through my learning material, and when I'm ready, then I can go ahead and take the test. Since this is part of my job, I'm expected to finish this ahead of time. So I'm giving myself a period of 2 months to complete the dual diploma. Now, the expected learning outcome is that I should be equipped with all the elements of each unit of competency, which will allow me to provide the much needed support that my students require. And lastly, the skill that I have identified is time management. Now, it's very important that I should take care of myself, and I should learn how to manage my time effectively and not let any precious time go to waste. So the development need here is to keep a planner or diary to help me plan out my day, and to learn how to utilize technology in managing my time. To do this, we'll need to learn how to maximize the functions of the calendar feature of my office email by probably searching the internet or YouTube for video tutorials of how to use the calendar feature of Microsoft Outlook. Also, I should have a planner with me. Now, with the planner, I'll have to plot out my activities for the day, probably the night before or before I leave the office. That way, when I come into work, I have a plan already in place. Now, this will be done on a daily basis and will be a continuous personal development plan for me. All right. Now, the next slide I'm going to present to you is my personal approach in managing and prioritizing my workload. Now, they say that it's different strokes for different folks. Now, this holds true, especially when it comes to managing and prioritizing your workload. So it's very important that everyone should know how to effectively and efficiently manage their tasks and handle their duties and responsibilities. Now, for me, my approach in managing my workload and prioritizing my tasks are as follows. Now, the first one is I will plan my day ahead using a planner or the calendar. Now, I carry a planner with me because basically I love to keep everything organized, including my tasks and my commitments and other priorities. So I make sure that I have my planner handy so that I can write down my to-do lists, take note of important meetings, and plot out my itinerary. Now I also use the calendar to write down important dates that need to be remembered, but as I've stated earlier, I will have to, as I've stated in my personal development plan, I'll have to learn how to maximize the features of the calendar application within Microsoft Outlook. Now, since I am using a computer, Microsoft Outlook has a calendar function that I can utilize, wherein I can call out meetings, create to-do lists, and basically have like post-it notes that I can write my to-do things, or any dates that I need to remember, and I can leave them on my desktop. I can also schedule meetings with just a click of the button, and much more. However, as with all things, I'd love to do things the old-fashioned way, so I'd still have my pen and paper handy. Now, the second approach is when managing my tasks, I would list them down and determine which category do each task belongs to. So I have created 3 categories. The first one is urgent, next one is to be followed, and last one is least important. Now, the basis for these 3 categories are, first, if a task has a deadline and it needs to be done before that date, then I will tag it as urgent. So that's the first thing that I will need to do first thing I come into the office. Now, if the task is important but does not require a deadline, or no deadline has been set yet, then this can be followed upon, and I will have it tagged as to be followed. Now, lastly, if the task does not have a deadline and can be prioritized as your least of the items, then I will have it tagged as least important. Now, this really helps in determining which tasks are to be given time and effort in order for this particular activity to be completed without any problems. That way, my workload will not look like a room full of clutter. So, like I've said earlier, I love to keep things organized, so I'd prefer to do it that way. Lastly, with the advent of modern technology, what I will do is download applications or apps on my smartphone that will help me in effectively managing my workload. I can have our IT team configure our office email to be synced into my smartphone, so that I can still have access to my emails, appointments, and meetings while I'm mobile. Okay? The only probable downside of using this technology is connectivity. If I go to a secluded area with no internet access available, then I won't be able to open my office email from my phone, obviously. Now, a secondary issue would be if my phone went out of batteries. So if that happens, then it will be difficult for me to view my to-do list, which is why I'd still prefer a planner or diary to plan out my activities. Now, we all have different ways of learning new things. There are those who would read instructions on a manual to understand how a task is to be done. Now, there are others who will listen to other people and obtain instructions. And there are those who would simply go ahead and do it. Now, I've conducted a personal assessment of my learning style according to the VAK learning system. And here are my findings. I'd have to say that I'm a visual and kinesthetic learner. Now, although there are scores that reflect my being an auditory learner, majority of the results indicate that I am more of a visual and tactile learner, probably because my personality reflects such aspects. I would still refer to manuals and learning aids and read them, and from there I will do an analysis of what I've read and try to understand them. Afterwards, I would simply go ahead and do the task. Sure, I can ask questions from time to time, but most of the time I will just proceed to do the task, or I would just proceed and do the task. And if I commit mistakes along the way, I'd simply take the feedback constructively and learn from it. And that shows my kinesthetic side of me as a learner. So with visual, I would read instructions on the manual and try to understand them. With kinesthetic approach, I would proceed into doing the task, follow my instincts, and learn from my mistakes. Next, I'm going to present the benefits of networking or engaging into a network. Of course, life in the workplace should not be contained within the four corners of your cubicle or desk. It is very important for a person's professional, or it is very important for a person's professional development to be engaged in a network, because it will help the individual extend his or her presence and make himself or herself known to other people outside his or her workplace circle. Now, with the advent of social media, getting listed in a network is now easy and quick. Currently, I have created a LinkedIn account so that I can extend my network of call center workers, supervisors, and managers. LinkedIn is much like Facebook, but it only showcases the professional aspect of you. Where you work, what expertise you have achieved, what what skills that you currently have, among others. Now, I have also joined a network of global call center workers, which is called the Call Center Planet. They have a Facebook page wherein I can exchange my opinions, best practices, and news related to the industry to fellow members, including job openings. If in case there's a job opening at our company, I can share it with my fellow members there, and they can just send messages to me stating their intent to apply, and I can just refer them. Now, the network is very interactive and engaging, and I can get to speak with fellow members too. Of course, since it's a virtual meeting. So what I do is I send private messages to them. Now, networking has a lot of benefits. Okay, the first benefit is you get to share and obtain best practices with network colleagues. Now, what works best in your workplace may not be applicable or may not apply to other members. However, there may be some best workplace practices that may not work on your fellow members, but these practices can work well on you. So it's basically an exchange of more than just best practices. It can also be an exchange of ideas too. Now, the second benefit that you can get from networking is that it enables you to establish a network of quote-unquote connections that you can use in the future. Just like it helped me, or actually, these connections that I have will definitely help me with my future, or in my future plans. So, the more professionals that I meet and include on my professional circle, the more opportunities that will come into my doorstep, such as recommendations in case, like I've said earlier, in case I would jump ship and join another firm. If I know someone who's working at that company, then I can go ahead and ask him to, give me a recommendation, or to recommend me to their management. So at least I already have an edge over my competitors if I were seeking a position at that company. Now, another instance is if in case I need to obtain access to their organizational records, that will help me in pursuing my personal or professional interests. Say if I were to come up with my own business, and I need some existing data that will help me on how to create my feasibility paper. I can ask my network colleagues to help me out. They can help me, or if they can assist me in obtaining records, then I can do so. Now, this will also help in This will also help in, when I prepare my strategic management paper for my master's degree. Now, lastly, networking allows you to socialize to other people other than your coworkers. If you're a person who's having a hard time in making friends inside the workplace, then try networking. I'm sure that this will definitely help you create friends that will eventually lead you into creating new sets of friends within your workplace, because networking helps you in building networking helps you in building new friendships, and these friendships that you build outside your workplace may eventually help you into creating friendships or connections within your workplace. So let's say if you know someone who happens to know your coworker, then that person can serve as a bridge to help to get you connected with your colleague, and from there the opportunities are endless. Now, if you're if you're an outspoken person and making friends is not a difficult thing for you to do, then not networking empowers you to extend your influence, therefore giving you more opportunities for your own personal and professional development. And that's what networking did to me. It allowed me to extend my circle of friends to a broader spectrum while gaining new acquaintances, which will become a good source of connections should I need them in the future. So try it. Set up a LinkedIn account. There are groups there are several forums that you can search on, and there are networks there of people who are sharing same business or same interests. Say if they're car enthusiasts, you can also use that as an opportunity for your professional connections. So exploit social media, because these mediums will definitely help you in extending your influence and getting more, and all the while you're benefiting from it as well. And lastly, we've come to the final part of my presentation. Now, it is very important for me to have a continuous learning and development plan in order for me to maintain a competitive edge in my employment. Now, having said this, the following items describe what I do in order to build the necessary skills needed in maintaining a competitive edge in my current employment. The first one is pursuing advanced studies. So currently I am undertaking my master's in business administration along with my dual diploma of business and management. So basically I'm taking two courses at the same time. Now, my aim is to become a team leader or a manager soon, and I believe that it is vital that I should pursue a higher level of education in order for me to fulfill the much bigger responsibilities of a leader. Now, that is why I have enrolled myself into, that's the primary reason why I have enrolled myself into graduate school. And I aim to, or my goal is to finish my master's degree in 2 years or less. And for my dual diploma, I aim to finish it within a month or two. Now, the next one that the next one is that I am participating at our firm's leadership trainings and seminars. Now, it is great to learn from fellow workers who are certified in providing training on leadership and management. And I think that these trainings and seminars will give me a different view of how leaders and managers do things as compared to the much more theoretical view of leadership and management that I get from graduate school. Thirdly, I always take the initiative in asking my supervisor to delegate some managerial tasks to me. This is so that I can apply what I have learned from both my MBA and my dual diploma of business and management into real workplace scenarios. And also, this serves as an assessment a personal assessment of myself to determine what areas of opportunity that I should work and improve on, so that when the time comes that I'd be given the opportunity to lead, then I'd know how to do it. Now, this also allows me to learn how to manage these tasks effectively and efficiently. The fourth one is I constantly seek feedback from my supervisor and to provide me with, with the feedback that I need for my professional learning and development. And this is also a chance for me to work on these areas and do better in the future. Okay. And lastly, my what I do, the last thing that I do to help me to help me in my leadership or in my personal and professional growth is I read books on business and leadership during my free time. I'd love to learn from the greatest and well-known business leaders and get tips on how they've effectively and efficiently managed their companies, being able to influence their staff to follow their footsteps and basically learn from them. So if from these materials, I can also get some ideas on how I can lead and manage a team in an efficient and effective manner. And like I've said, when the time comes, then these tips will definitely help me and or at least give me a distinct advantage. So basically, that ends my presentation. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from me, and I wish you a great day ahead, and thank you for your time. Take care.